Filipino tennis star Alex Eala is expected to compete first in the Strasbourg Open in France this weekend. The 20-year-old Filipino tennis sensation enters the tournament fresh off an impressive round of 32 finish at the Italian Open, where she pushed world number 2
Australian Open in a way that I haven't really seen any player do before. Certainly not someone as new on the scene. So
tennis supporters from the Philippines, from every corner of Asia, and from all around the globe should get ready because an extraordinary scene is unfolding right now in the French city of Strasbourg. Tournament chief Denis Naegelen, the visionary who spent years transforming this competition into one of Europe's premier WTA events, has rolled out an unforgettable welcome unlike anything the tournament has witnessed before, all because 20-year-old Filipino rising star Alex Eala has arrived. And this is far bigger than a simple warm-up appearance before Roland Garros. This feels monumental. This feels symbolic. This feels like the beginning of something unforgettable. Before focusing fully on Alex, it is important to understand why this reception matters so much. Denis Naegelen is not merely an organizer, he is deeply connected to the identity of the Strasbourg Open itself. A former French professional player from the Alsace region, Naegelen has clay court tennis embedded in his soul. In 2009, when the tournament risked disappearing from Strasbourg completely, he stepped in through his company quarterback and rescued the event, ensuring it remained in France while elevating it into a prestigious WTA 500 tournament recognized as one of the biggest stops before Roland Garros on the women's tour. For many years, Denis has devoted himself to attracting elite talent, legendary champions, and world-class competition to the courts beside the European Parliament. Those courts have witnessed unforgettable moments throughout history, yet when Naegelen speaks about the incredible energy Alex Eala is bringing to the event, his words carry enormous significance because he has seen generations of players pass through those entrances. Even he understands that Eala represents something remarkably different. The worldwide attention, the passionate excitement, and the massive international following surrounding her arrival are creating an atmosphere the Strasbourg Open has never truly experienced on this scale before.
Luckily, I'm fortunate enough to have reached that level where everyone is a fighter. The level is so close. I mean, this year I've done...
Now let's address the massive force behind all of this, because Alex Eala does not arrive at tournaments carrying only a racket and a tennis bag. She arrives with the unstoppable energy of an entire nation behind her. The Filipino fan community is easily one of the most passionate and fiercely loyal groups in global sports. These supporters stay awake until dawn to watch matches live, dominate social media conversations, flood every trending topic, and transform each Alex Eala appearance into a nationwide moment throughout the Philippines. Every time she walks onto the court, millions of people back home stop and watch together. And now all of those eyes are locked on Strasbourg. Fans who had never even heard of the Strasbourg International before are suddenly searching for it online, streaming every match, and following Denis Naegelen's tournament with the intensity usually reserved for Grand Slam events. The numbers across social platforms and online searches make the impact impossible to ignore. The Strasbourg Open is receiving worldwide attention unlike anything in its history, and that spotlight exists because Alex Eala entered the tournament draw. For a WTA 500 competition, this level of international buzz is incredibly rare. This is the true power of the Eala effect, and everyone connected to the Strasbourg organization understands exactly what it means. That explains why the reception surrounding her arrival has felt so extraordinary this season. But beyond the excitement and attention, the tennis itself is becoming impossible to overlook. At only 20 years old, Alex Eala has already climbed into the world's top 40 and established herself as one of the brightest young stars in the sport. As a graduate of the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca, Spain, she developed her game on the same clay court system that helped shape one of the greatest clay specialists tennis has ever seen. Still, succeeding on clay at the professional level is an entirely different challenge. Earlier this season, Eala competed in events across Linz, Stuttgart, and Madrid, steadily adapting her style, gaining experience, and learning how to handle the demands of the surface against elite competition. Then came Rome, where she produced the first third-round appearance of her career at a major clay court tournament, defeating top-level opponents before eventually losing to world number 2 Elena Rybakina, in a performance that proved she belongs among the best players in the game. It was not luck, and it certainly was not a random breakthrough. It was Alex Eala announcing to the tennis world that clay courts are rapidly becoming one of her greatest strengths. She even admitted during an interview with Tennis Channel that she is beginning to feel more comfortable on the surface, explaining that while she grew up playing on clay, competing professionally at this level is completely different, and this season marks the first time she has truly experienced the biggest tournaments on dirt. She said she is still discovering her rhythm and believes she can achieve major success there. And now Strasbourg becomes the final step in that development process. This is only the 5th professional clay event of her career, meaning she is still at the beginning of her education on the surface. Yet Strasbourg, positioned right before Roland Garros, represents the final preparation ground before the biggest challenge and most important test she has faced so far in her young career.
In general, I'm a better player this year now at this moment than I was last year, so I'm really confident with that. I've had some struggles on clay before, but I've also had some really great matches, so I'm really excited to see. There's a couple turns.
What makes the Strasbourg Open such an ideal stop for Alex Eala at this stage of her career is the timing and the environment surrounding the tournament. The event takes place from May 17th through May 23rd, while Roland Garros officially begins on May 24th, leaving only a single week between the two competitions. That means the conditions in Strasbourg are nearly identical to what players will experience in Paris: the same French clay, similar weather, and the same atmosphere that defines the European clay season. Every moment Eala spends competing here serves as a complete rehearsal for the most prestigious clay court tournament in the world. And there is another detail that should make Filipino supporters extremely proud. Alex Eala has already earned direct entry into the Roland Garros main draw without needing to battle through qualifying rounds. That achievement says everything about her current ranking and the respect she has already earned within professional tennis. She was not handed a wild card and did not rely on fortune to reach the tournament. She secured her place through consistent performances and hard-earned results. However, qualifying for the French Open and actually succeeding on the demanding clay courts of Paris under Grand Slam pressure are two completely different challenges. That level requires experience, rhythm, and intense match competition, exactly the kind of preparation Strasbourg can provide in the crucial days before Roland Garros begins. Every powerful forehand she drives, every defensive backhand she controls, and every difficult point she fights to win on these courts becomes part of the foundation she will rely on in Paris. Strasbourg is not simply another warm-up tournament for Eala. It is the bridge connecting her preparation to the biggest opportunity of her young career. The field this year is packed with dangerous talent, including players like Madison Keys, Leylah Fernandez, Emma Raducanu, Maria Sakkari, Emma Navarro, and Ekaterina Alexandrova. This is an extremely competitive draw filled with experienced players also preparing themselves for Roland Garros, meaning every match will challenge Eala physically and mentally while sharpening her game for what awaits in Paris. And in the center of all this excitement stands Alex Eala, only 20 years old, already inside the world's top 40, and still early in her professional clay court journey with just 5 events on the surface. Behind her is a nation of more than 110 million people following every point she plays. Filipino fans stay awake through the night to watch her matches, push her name into worldwide trends within minutes, and have effectively placed the Strasbourg Open into the global spotlight through their overwhelming support online. Denis Naegelen has overseen this tournament for more than 15 years, witnessing countless champions compete and celebrate victories beside the European Parliament, yet even he has never experienced anything quite like this. Alex Eala is not simply participating in the event, she is transforming it into an international spectacle almost overnight. She carries the hopes of an entire country every time she steps onto the court, and somehow she handles that enormous pressure with remarkable calm. Strasbourg is alive with energy, and the entire Philippines is watching closely. The excitement surrounding Alex Eala is no longer limited to the Philippines because now the entire tennis world is paying attention, and the most incredible part is that her story is only beginning. Every match from Strasbourg to Roland Garros feels like the start of a journey that could become one of the defining stories of the season, so fans should not take their eyes off what is happening right now. Alex Eala has already captured global attention with her rapid rise, and now the question everyone is asking is whether she is truly prepared to make a major breakthrough at Roland Garros this year. After gaining valuable clay court experience in tournaments like Linz, Stuttgart, Madrid, and Rome, Many believe her game has evolved enough to challenge some of the biggest names in women's tennis on the sport's grandest stage. Then comes the question of Strasbourg itself. Can she make a serious run and possibly leave with the title before traveling to Paris? Or is this week mainly about building confidence, rhythm, and match sharpness ahead of the French Open? Fans everywhere are already debating how far she can go in Paris, whether she can reach the round of 16, push into the quarterfinals, or perhaps even create an unforgettable surprise beyond that. The growing support behind her has become one of the most remarkable stories in sports, with Filipino fans from every part of the world staying awake at impossible hours just to watch her compete and proudly represent their country. That worldwide support has turned Eala into far more than a rising tennis player. She is becoming a symbol of